Welcome to Metric Hub. Today I'm going to discuss topic 4, which is contemporary social economic issues. Right, so I'll be focusing on the impact of contemporary social economic issues on business operations, challenges, and business decisions. Right, so I'm going to define what is contemporary social economic issues. What are social economic issues? Right. Contemporary social economic issues. Right. So these are current social economic issues or problems that affects business operations, decision making, and sustainability. Those are the issues in the community, right? In the economy that affects the business operations, that causes business, that also affects the business and also impose problems on the business, right? So these are these are these are current social and economic problems that affect business operations, decision making, and sustainability. And sustainability. So these are social and economic problems includes the income level, the income level, social and economic issues, includes the income level, the income level, one, includes the income level of the customers or consumers. It also includes inflation, the it also includes lack of skills, lack of skills, illiteracy, it also includes the um, demographic issues, demographic issues. It also includes inefficiency. So these are the social and economic issues, to mention a few, to mention a few, right? So I'm going to discuss the impact of these social and economic issues, right? That might affect the business operations, decision making and sustainability. Right. So let's discuss the income level. How does it affect the business? The income level, how does it income level, right? How does it have an impact on the social economic issues? Like how does it affect the business operations? How does it impose challenges on the business as well as contribute to decision making in the business, right? So income level, we're talking about customers who are what, or consumers who are earning a low, right? Low, who have low income. How does this impact the business? So let's talk about the impact of this to the business. The impact of this to the business. The impact of this to the business. Right. So you can find that if consumers or customers earn a low income, it means that it reduces the what? The purchasing power of the what? Of the of the of the customers. Hence, the business is going to be affected. It's going to be affected since the demand for luxury and non-essential products it decreases because customers in the market are earning low salaries and wages. Hence, a business will experience the lower sales and profit. Business will experience lower sales and profit. Right. So this is the impact of what? Of low income on business operations. On business operations. Right. Right. You can find that low income reduces consumer purchasing power. Right. It also decreases the demand, decreases the demand of luxury products and non-essential products or services. So the business will experience lower sales because customers in the market are buying essential goods. So a business that is supplying luxury goods will experience lower sales and profits. Right. So let's talk about the challenges that these issues are this issue imposed on the business. The challenges of low income. Right. So this issue imposes challenges like limited market price, limited market size of the business. The business will be having a limited market size, right? Since customers are all are buying uh, essential goods, not luxury goods, right? And also, it will be difficult for the business to expand its operations. Difficulties in expanding since the business is suffering from low sales and low profits. So it will be very difficult for the business to expand its operations. To expand its operations. Right. So let's talk about the business decision. What will the business what will be the business decision on these social economic issues regarding income levels of the employee customers. So the business decision, the business decisions will include the business may decide to sell affordable products. They may decide to sell affordable products so that they can increase sales and profit, so that there is sustainability of the business. So affordable products. Affordable products. The business can also adjust its pricing strategies whereby it can lower prices, right, to increase its market share. It can lower prices of the product in order to increase its market share, right? Or it can reduce operating cost so that they can be able to produce quality products at a lower price. It can reduce its operation costs so that it can produce quality products at a lower price, right? An example would be a clothing retailer sells more basic clothing instead of expensive designer brands, right? Just to so that the company will gain more sales and profits, right? Let's move on to e.g. a clothing company or a retailer sells more basic clothing instead of expensive designer brands, right? So that's the business has to sell more of basic than expensive products so that they will be able to to have more sales and profit, right? Another socio-economic issue or a problem is inflation. 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 Right. So inflation is whereby uh goods are priced at a higher cost, right? Or the value of rand is has decreased, right? Whereby you need to pop out more rands to buy few products, to buy few products. Mean to say the inflation is high. The inflation is high when you have to spend a lot of rands to buy few products, right? So let's talk about the impact on business. The impact of inflation on business. The impact of inflation on business. All right. So the impact of inflation, it includes you can find that there will be increased cost of raw materials and transport, right? And also there will be higher wage demand by employees because the value of rand has decreased, right? The purchasing power of rand has increased, so there will be higher wages demand, right? By the employees, as well as reduced profitability. The profit of the organization becomes low. It will be reduced because the cost of raw materials are high in transport, right? So the impact includes increased cost of raw materials, and transport. You can find that demand for higher wages, demand for higher wages will be high, as well as reduced profitability since the operation costs are high, right? So the profit low, will become low since the operating costs are high, right? So what are the challenges of these socio-economic issues to the business? Challenges, challenges to the business. Right. You can find that uh, business will struggle to maintain stable prices, right? And also customers may buy fewer products. Customers may buy fewer products, right? The business struggle to maintain stable price since there will be continuous increase in the cost of raw materials and transport. So the business has to adjust, ne? Have to adjust to the increase, right, of transport and raw materials. Hence, it will be very difficult for them to maintain a stable price. And uh, customers will buy fewer products. Hence, there is low sales. The business will experience low sales and profit. Right, right. Let's talk about the business decision, the business decisions on these challenges. The business decisions on these challenges. Business decision, business decisions on these challenges. Right. So the business can increase selling prices, right? Can increase selling prices. They can also reduce expenses and buy in bulk. They can also buy raw materials in bulk. It becomes very cheaper, and sometimes they'll be given a discount, right? Right. So they can increase selling price so that they'll be able to break even. They can increase selling price so that they can be able to earn profit, right? The business can also reduce expenses. Can also reduce expenses. For example, buying their own vehicles for transport, right? Rather than paying or renting uh, vehicles, as well as they can also buy in bulk, whereby they can experience discounts, discounts, right? If the business buys in bulk. right? An example would be a bakery increases bread prices due to rising flour and electricity costs, right? E.g., a bakery. E.g., a bakery can increase bread cost, bread price due to rising flour and electricity cost, right? Right. So let's move on to another socio-economic problems that might have an impact on the business, right? So now I'm going to discuss the social, cultural, and demographic issues. Social, cultural, and demographic issues, right? So these issues, they also have an impact on the business operations, right? So let's discuss the impact of social, cultural, and demographic issues. The impact of this contemporary social problems on business operations. Impact on business operations. So you can find that population age structure affects labor supply. Right? Labor becomes scarce if the population is consists of maybe old people. Right? So labor supply becomes very, very scarce. Right? So you can find that urbanization changes what we call customer needs. Urbanization, it changes customer needs, as well as you can find that cultural preferences influence product demands. Cultural preferences influences what product demands. Right, there are products that are not uh, used in other cultures. Right, so it meaning to say the demand of that product, uh, it will be very low, right? It will be very low, right? So the impact includes cultural preference, cultural preferences, influences, product demand, two, population, age, structure, to affect labor supply, to affect labor supply, and also urbanization changes the demand of the goods. It changes the customer needs, changes consumer needs, right? So let's talk about the challenges that the organization might face. Challenges, challenges. All right. So you can find that business must adopt products to cultural needs. So it becomes a challenge. Cultural needs. Business must adopt products to cultural needs, right? And also, the organization might have a challenge in managing workforce diversity. Workforce diversity. The organization might have a problem in managing workforce diversity, right? Whereby there will be different cultures in the same organization. Right. Let's move on to see business decisions regarding these challenges. Business decisions regarding these challenges. Business decisions regarding these challenges. So the business might implement diversity management policy. The business may implement diversity management policy. Also can introduce culturally appropriate products, introduce products that are related to a specific culture. Culturally appropriate products. Right. So, for example, a business like allow, right, whereby it sells or sells meat to or food to Muslim consumers. Right. An example might be an example includes a food business offers halal halal products to save Muslims consumers. Right. Okay, let's move on to another challenge or another problem that have an impact on business, that has challenges on business as well as uh, uh, forces the business to make a certain decision, right? Which is economic crime, economic crime, economic crime, economic crime, right? Which includes fraud, theft, and corruption. Right. So these have impact. These have impact on business. These have impact on business. So let's discuss the impact of these social crimes, right, on business. On business operations. These have impact on business operations, right? So these include one, you can find that the business may lose stock and money because of theft, because of fraud, right? The business will need to increase security and insurance cost in case of theft and um, fraud. And also the business has to reduce investor confidence. The investor confidence will be reduced if these crimes occurred at the company. Right? The investors may not have confidence in investing in that business. Right? So the impact includes loss of stock, due to theft and money due to theft or fraud. Right? The need for increased security and insurance cost. As well as reduced investor confidence. Investors might not might lose confidence in buying shares for the business because they'll be afraid that uh, there might be theft in the business, right? Or corruption or fraud. Right. Let's move. Let's talk about the challenges of this economic ills, the economic problems, challenges for the business, challenges for the business. Right. So you can find that the business, you have to invest on security, which is costly. They're supposed to invest in security systems. For example, alarm systems, right, on entry levels. Alarm systems on entry levels. And also, they are supposed to implement internal control. The business has to implement another problem is problems also includes, these are the decisions that the business has to uh, uh, consider. So challenges includes the business has to maintain trust with the employees and the stakeholders. They're supposed to maintain trust. Yes. And also, the business also has to experience higher operating cost, higher operating cost, since raw materials might be stolen, and also they're supposed to um, uh, buy security systems. So decision for the business, what will the business do in order to overcome these challenges? What will the business do in order to get rid of these challenges? Right. So the business has to invest in security, They're supposed to invest in security, right? Installing of cameras and alarm systems on entry levels, right? And also supposed to implement the businesses to implement internal controls. They are supposed to implement internal controls, right? So that there will be security at work, right? So, so a business can, e.g., an example, a business can install CCTV, CCTVs, cameras, to prevent theft. The business can install CCTV to prevent um, theft. Theft, right? So let's move on to the impact of contemporary socio-economic issues on business operations and productivity. Right. So we are going to discuss the impact of these socio-economic issues or problems on productivity. On productivity, impact of contemporary social economic issues, economic economic issues on productivity. So we're going to discuss the effect of uh, these social and economic problems on productivity. Right. So let's discuss uh, population growth. Population growth. Right. So population growth is basically the increase of population over a period of time, right? When people are increasing, right? Right. So what does it mean to the business? It means that there will be an increased demand for goods and services because there are many people now. So there will be a demand, right? So it also means that there will be pressure on infrastructure and resources. Many businesses want to operate, so there will be pressure on operation, where to infrastructure and also resources. There will be a scarcity of resources, right? Since there is a higher demand, companies would want to supply, they would want to increase its market share. Hence, there are also challenges of new entrants, right? Newcomers, right? Into the business environment. So there'll be pressure on infrastructure and resources, right? So the impact on this, I'm just gonna write notes here in brief. The impact on productivity, right, includes increased demand for goods and services, as well as pressure on infrastructure and infrastructure and resources. There will be pressure, right? So let's move on to challenges of this on business. Challenges of population growth on business. Challenges of population growth on businesses. Right, you can find that there'll be shortage of jobs because there are many people. There will be many job seekers. So there will be shortage of jobs or shortage of what? Of employment. Meaning to say that there will be increased also competition for resources. Right, there will be increased competition for resources since companies or businesses will want to maximize its profit, right, by producing at a higher rate. So there will be increased competition for resources. Right. Right. So an example would be in a food or a fast food outlet in town, whereby it expands in urban areas due to population growth. A business can expand. Many businesses might maybe move to urban areas due to population growth. Right. E.g., fast food outlets expand to urban areas due to the population growth. Right. So let's talk about illiteracy. Right. So illiteracy simply means inability to read and write. Right. Inability to read and write. Right. So it also have an impact on productivity in the business. Illiteracy impose challenges. It also have impact on productivity. Right. Illiteracy, illiteracy, illiteracy Right. So you can find that, let's discuss the impact of illiteracy. Let's discuss the impact of illiteracy. Right. On the business, on productivity. Impact on productivity includes one, you can find that employees will struggle to follow instructions because they don't know how to read and write. And also there will be increased training costs since the employees have to be trained so that they'll be able to understand instructions so that they can be able to follow instructions. And also you can find that there will be low production levels, right? Since the employees cannot be able to follow what instructions, right? So you can find that employees will struggle to follow instructions. Employees' inability to follow instructions because of illiteracy. Because of illiteracy, employees might have a problem in following instructions, right? Two, there will be increased training cost, increased training cost, whereby the business has to train employees so that there will be literacy. And then there will be also the business will also experience low production, low productivity cost. So let's move on to another. For example, an example might include a factory which experiences errors because workers cannot read safety instructions, right? An example will be, e.g., a factory experiencing errors because workers cannot read safety instructions. Right. So let's move on to another socio-economic problem that might affect the business productivity, which is lack of skills, 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 right? Right. So inability to perform, right, because of lack of skills can impose impact on productivity, impose impact on productivity. So let's discuss the impact of lack of skills, right? Lack of skills, impact of lack of skills on productivity, right? One, you'll find that if workers or employees do not have skills to produce, it means that there will be reduced efficiency, right? And also there will be poor service delivery as well as increased recruitment cost. The organization has to recruit skilled people who can be able to perform, right? So there will be an increase in what? In recruitment cost, right? Um, the impact includes reduction in efficiency, efficiency and innovation. Right. There will be reduction in um, efficiency because the employees are not skilled. Because employees are not skilled, right? As well as poor service delivery, poor service delivery, since they are not skilled. as well as increased recruitment cost. Increased recruitment costs, whereby the business has to recruit employees who are skilled, who can be able to perform the task. And so let's talk about the challenges imposed by this lack of skills on productivity. Right? Challenges includes one, the business may struggle to expand because of uh, low production or a poor service delivery, right? And also, uh, the business will end up depend on skilled foreign labor, which is also cost to the organization, who may demand more, more, more labor cost, right? Um, the business may struggle to expand, also dependence on foreign skilled labor. Right. Right. So the business will have these challenges. For example, an example of this situation is whereby an IT company cannot develop new software due to lack of what? Skilled programmers. It is also a problem, which is a challenge, right? Example includes e.g. an IT company cannot produce or develop new software due to lack of skilled programmers. Right. So another socio-economic problem that can affect the productivity uh, is the unavailability of natural resources. Unavailability of natural resources. Unavailability of natural resources. All right. So let's discuss the impact on production, on productivity. The impact on productivity, right? Impact on productivity. Unavailability of natural resources. You can find that the disruption of production processes, right? Because they'll be unavailable. The resources are not available. So the production process will be disrupted, right? And also you can find that there'll be increased cost of sourcing raw materials since they are scarce. They are scarce. So there'll be an increased cost of sourcing those raw materials, right? Um, disruption of production process due to lack of raw materials, or it might be increased the cost of sourcing raw materials. Because if there is a scarcity, it means that suppliers will decide on the price, right? So there will be increased the cost of sourcing raw materials. Right, let's talk about the challenges that this socio-economic problem influence the business. Challenges of this socio-economic problem. Right, challenges. So I'm going to discuss challenges of this. So you can find that production output will be uh, reduced. There will be reduction in the production output since the raw materials are not available. All right, so reduce the output. Reduce the output. Reduce the output. Reduce the output. And then, due to the scarcity of raw natural resources, the business might also close down. Right? It also makes the business to close down, to shut down. Right? Business closure risk also impose the risk of closing since there is an availability of raw materials. Right. Let's move on to another issue that can have an impact on productivity, which is the inefficiency in the use of resources. Inefficiency in the use of resources. In the use of resources, right? So right. So let's discuss the impact on productivity. The impact of on productivity, right? On inefficiency, right? Impact of inefficiency in the use of resources on productivity. Impact on productivity, right? So you can find that there will be increased production cost, right? And also you can find that there will be wastage of raw materials, right? As well as a reduced profitability. Since there is production cost and wastage in raw materials, profit will be reduced, right? This includes increased production cost because of inefficiency, right? And also there will be waste of raw materials since mistakes are done. And then there will be reduction in profit since production is increased the cost and materials are also wasted, right? Hence the profitability of the business will be affected. The profitability of the business will be affected. Right, let's move on the challenges Challenges to the business. Challenges of inefficiency to the business. Challenges. Right. So we can find that the business will be experiencing poor management. Poor management. Mean to say, resources are not managed effectively and efficiently, right? And also, there will be lack of planning, right? Which is also a challenge, right? Right. An example might be a factory versus electricity due to outdated machines. Right. A factory might waste resources like electricity due to outdated machinery. Outdated machinery. Right. So let's move on to another socio-economic problem, which is what we call dumping. Dumping, right? So dumping, it is when foreign products like China products are sold at a very low prices, often below cost, to destroy local businesses, right? Um, dumping, dumping is also a social economic problem. Dumping occurs when foreign products are sold at very low prices, below cost, to destroy local businesses. Right. So what does this, how does it have an impact on the business? The impact on the business, the impact of dumping on the business, impact of dumping on the business. So you can find that uh, local businesses will close, right? And there will be loss of jobs. The local businesses will be losing what? Market share, right? They will lose market share. They will end up maybe closing. Mean to say unemployment will be high, right? Um, Due to closure of those businesses, workers will lose their jobs, right? Includes local businesses lose market share. Local businesses lose market share, and also closure of domestic firms, which are local firms, they will close. Right? We need to say if companies closes, there will be loss of what? Job. Right. For example, a cheap imported clothing forces local manufacturing out of the business. Right. Example, a cheap imported or China clothing, all right, and force um, local clothing manufacturing to be out of the business. Out of the business. They will be forced to be out of the business because these are the imported company will sell goods at a lower price, even below cost, right? So the local manufacturers will then be out of business, right? Um, Another socio-economic problem that I'm going to discuss is the exhaustion of natural resources. Exhaustion of natural resources, whereby the natural resources are overused, are overexhausted, right? Right. So let's talk about the impact of on productivity when there's exhaustion of natural resources. Exhaustion of natural resources. So we can find that uh, uh, there will be reduced availability of raw materials because it has been exhausted, right? And also you can find that there will be increased production cost, increased uh, production cost, increased production cost, as well as reduction in the availability availability of raw materials. Right. So let's talk about the challenges that this impose on the business. The business challenges. The challenges includes one, there will be unsustainable operations because of uh, uh, shortage of what? Of natural resource. Unsustainable operations. and also it can also cause environmental damage. Environmental damage, which is environmental degradation. Okay. Right. So an example might be a mining company which faces reduced output due to depleted mineral reserves, right? It might face reduced output because of uh, uh, depleted or shortage or reduction in mineral resources, it reserves, right? Examples, e.g., a mining company face reduced output due to depleted mineral reserves. Right. Okay, let's move on to another socio-economic problem that have an impact on productivity, which is piracy. 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 Right. So piracy is also has an impact on 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 productivity. Right. Piracy is whereby um, a business product will be maybe copied with other competitors in the market, right? So, right. Um, let's talk about the impact on productivity, right? Right. Um, maybe the business might lose revenue. The business might lose revenue and also job losses in creative industries, job losses in creative industries, especially um, in music industries. In music industries, piracy is common. And so there'll be reduced the motivation to innovation. There's reduced the motivation to innovation, right? Because of piracy, because of piracy, right? Um, let's talk about another socio-economic problem that affect uh, the business productivity, which is strikes, 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 right? Uh, so strike is an industrial what? Action, right? Against the employer, right? In the maybe in the event or in the case of a what? A dispute. In the case of a dispute, the employees might strike in a way to put pressure on the employer to negotiate, right? So let's talk about the impact of strikes on productivity. Impact of strike on productivity. Impact of strike on productivity. Right. So you can find that um, when employees are on strike, productivity stops. Productivity stops. Productivity stops. Meaning to say, there's no production taking place, right? So this might also cause delays in service delivery. This might also cause delays in service delivery. And also it might also cause loss of income, loss of income since the employees who engage on strike cannot be given a salary. They are not entitled to a salary. Right. Um, let's move on to the challenges, right, that the business will experience due to um, strikes, right? Challenges, 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 right? Right. So, challenges includes loss of customers, loss of customers. The business will lose customers during strike, during strike period. And you can find that strikes damage the reputation of the business. Strike damage the reputation of the business. It damage the repetition, repetition of the business. Right. Right. So an example might be a manufacturing plant shuts down during a wage strike. Also is an advantage of the impact of a strike on businesses. E.g., example, manufacturing plant shuts down shuts down during a wage strike. There is no production. Delivery will be delayed. And also there will be a loss of employees will lose income. Right. The employer also loses what? Profit. Right. Right. Let's move on to uh, um piracy. Piracy. We talked about piracy, whereby we're saying it's an illegal copying, distribution, or use of protected products such as music, movies, software, brands, branded goods, etc. Right. So let's also discuss um, intellectual property rights. Right. Intellectual property rights. Right. What you call copyrights. Copyright. So we are going to define what is intellectual property rights. What is intellectual? IPR. Intellectual property rights. Right. So intellectual property rights are legal rights. These are legal rights that protect creation, creations of the mind, ensuring creators receive recognition, receive recognition and financial benefits from their creations. Yes. So I'm going to discuss those intellectual property rights. Right. I'm going to start with the copyrights. 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 Right. So copyrights, these are legal protection for original works such as movies, films, books, and software, which is legal protection. It's a legal protection. The legal protection for original legal protection for original works such as music, films, books, and software. Right. So examples might be textbooks may not be photocopied and sold without permission. Even music cannot be downloaded without the permission, right, as well as softwares, e.g., e.g., music may not be downloaded and sold without permission of the creators. Without permission of the creators. So the creator has to put a copyright right on his say products. Right. So you have what we call patent, 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 patent. Patent. Patents. Right. So these are the exclusive rights granted to investors for new investors or processes. Right. These are the exclusive rights granted to new investors for new inventions or processes. or new inventions, or new inventions, or processes. Right. For example, a pharmacist purchase a new medicine, right? Let's move on to another one, which is what you call trademarks. We are still on intellectual property rights. We have what you call trademarks. Trademarks. Good. So those are symbols, names, or logos that identify a business product. Those are what you call symbols, names that identify a business identity, right? So we have Nike, right, which is a logo, right, which is registered as a trademark. We also have Adidas, right, etc. Symbols, these are symbols, names, or logos that identify a business products. E.g., 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 with Nike, Adidas, Levi's, etc. Right. So these are the registered trademark, right? These are the registered trademark. Nike, Adidas, Levi's. Right. Right. So let's talk about business solutions and contributions to do with piracy. Business solutions, contributions to do with piracy. Solutions and contributions to deal with piracy. So let's talk about the possible solutions. Possible solutions. Solutions. So what would the business do in order to deal with piracy? It has to register copyright. The business has to register copyrights, patents, and trademarks. It has to do monitoring and report piracy activities. Also has to use digital protection system. Right. As well as educating customers about the effect of piracy. The business has to educate is another solution. Educate customers or consumers about the effects of piracy. Right. So let's talk about business contributions to deal with piracy. Business contributions. Right. The business has to support law enforcement agencies. The business has to support law enforcement agencies. They're supposed also to invest in innovation and branding. They're supposed also to promote ethical consumer or customer behavior. They're supposed to support, the business is supposed to support law enforcement agencies. It also has to promote ethical consumer behavior as well as they're supposed to invest in innovation and branding. Supposed to invest in innovation and branding. Right. So that is it for now. Thank you so much for your time. Please don't forget to share with your friends, with your classmates, right, with your relatives about Matric Hub Business Studies Grade 11. Right. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Let's meet in the next lesson whereby I'll be discussing business sectors, right, whereby I'll be discussing the link between primary, secondary, and tertiary enterprises. Thank you so much. Stay blessed.